questions, guys.
They did a good job, it seemed to me, like on offense, of taking what you gave them, which was the 5 to 6, 7 yard pass.
Yeah, we knew going in, Mike, that their quarterback was a really good player. We knew they had some good guys to throw the football to. And they run the football, you know, I mean, to keep you off balance a little bit, too. We knew they were a really good offensive football team. We had a challenge today. I thought overall our defense really hung in there. You know, they didn't get much help from the offense today. We were off the field a lot on offense, and we kept putting those guys back out there. And so they showed me a lot of, you know, courage and determination and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we forced some turnovers in the first half, which was really, really good. And second half, we had our backs against the wall a lot defensively and kind of rose to the occasion. So I thought overall, you know, if the defense had gotten a little bit of help out of the offense, it might have been another good, you know, defensive day. But in the end, we didn't score enough points and we gave up too many. But you know, from a defensive standpoint, I thought our kids played really hard all day against a pretty talented offensive football team.
Did you see the very last play, the two-point conversion? Did you have much of a look at it?
Couldn't tell. You know, it was over away from us, and you know, hard to tell.
Were you surprised that you were able to get down the field, given what had happened the previous?
Well, Bob, I was more surprised that we didn't do it earlier. You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, we were being hard-headed. You know, we felt like we needed to throw the football, and we were trying that a couple series before we went down the field. We were doing some of the same things and you know, tried to make the, you know, miracle comeback, but we just, you know, didn't get it done. And so I wasn't surprised that we were able to go down the field. I was just surprised we weren't able to do it more often and earlier in the game.
Kind of like the two-point conversion when the field's kind of scrambled. Sometimes that's when guys are getting open, right? It's not...
Yeah, you know, it's certainly not a science. I mean, you know, once things break down, the quarterback starts moving out of the pocket. That hurt us some today defensively. I thought their quarterback at times made some good decisions. You know, whether to throw it away, whether to, you know, try to get it in there, and you know, I thought several times we pressured their quarterback, and you know, he made something out of nothing a couple times. So that's what happens when the quarterback gets out of the pocket. When you don't get him contained, you got a shot.
What's the reasons and impact for your continuing problem sustaining a ground game?
Well, Dan, it has really, to me, very little to do with what we're doing, but how we're doing it right now. I told our kids today, you know, we're a very lethargic offensive football team right now. We have no sense of urgency. And this is my fault. This is nobody's fault but the head coach's fault. When your offense plays like they're asleep at the wheel, and the deal is a drop ball's no big deal, a missed block's no big deal, a bad throw's no big deal, and that's my fault. You know, I've allowed that to happen, and it doesn't matter, to be honest with you, the way we're playing right now offensively with the lack of intensity right now. It doesn't matter what we're doing. We're just a very lethargic, sloppy offensive football team right now. And that's me. That's the head coach. There's nobody, because I control my assistants. The assistants coach the kids, and I stand there every day in practice and watch it. And, you know, we've got to turn the volume up, and that's my responsibility, and that will be done.
I'm stunned by that, given what I saw in preseason and how hard you got to work. Are you surprised about this as I am?
What surprised me, Dan, is it's not carrying over to Saturday. It's not carrying over the game. You know, I told you I don't have any problems with how hard our kids are practicing. Right. But for whatever reason, we're getting out on game day. We're not doing it. You know, we're not getting it done. And I took the hit last week. You know, I thought all that free stuff we did was not good. You know, looking in hindsight, I thought going in that was a good plan. So today our thought was, let's don't do that. Let's you know, get lined up and play football. And we just and I might be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. There's no science to this stuff, but it's not an intensity that I'm enjoying watching right now. And so we're gonna get things stirred up. It may not be stirred in the right direction, but it's gonna get stirred up.
I guess an exception to this would be Campanaro with 16 catches and seemingly every time you needed a big play, or very often, he was there. How would you assess this play and his continued role in the offense?
Well, we've always talked about getting Mike to football. I mean, that's what we want to do. I thought there were times when we would have been wiser to go someplace else with the football, and I understand, that if I was a quarterback, I'd try to get him every ball if I could. But there are times when today where we probably would have been wiser to go somewhere else. And my biggest disappointment is, we're counting on so many freshmen to go out and play football for us right now. Our receiver core again is not a veteran receiver core, and it's not the kids' fault, but I'm really disappointed that our older players are not there to step up, and we're trying to count on Johnny and Jonathan and those guys out there in pressure situations, and so we got to get better at those with the young guys. But I thought Camp did some really, really good things. Obviously, you just can't be in an offense where you're going to throw it to one guy every snap, and we'd like to, but that's not reasonable. So I thought Camp did some really, really good things today, and hopefully we can build on that. But it's got nothing to do with one guy. We got to get everybody else playing better.
Coach, can you talk about the impact of the third down conversions for the Warhawks and how that just kind of disrupted the flow of the defense?
Well, I thought we need to get off the field more, no question, and third downs were big. But they're a good offensive football team. I mean, there's no question about it. They're a good offensive football team. And, I know the defense would have liked to have gotten off the field more, on third downs. But I thought overall the only things that I'm going to be probably a little disappointed in our defense is at times I think we probably didn't play mentally real well at times, but we were playing full speed. And that's my biggest difference, watching our offense and our defense play. I think the defense makes some mistakes, but they're flying. Where on the other side of the ball we're making mistakes and we just look, like we're in molasses. So, and that's my fault, and that could be our assistant coach's fault. Maybe we're asking too many things. I mean, I'm going to keep trying to make excuses, but at some point we got to play with more energy.
It seemed to be like, even though your defense had you in the game in the first half, 14-13, they ran 54 offensive plays in the first half. You had 31. That's hard to win a game in that situation.
Well, I think, Mike, but the thing we talked to the kids about coming back was that half's done. We got a whole half to come back and play better. And so, you go in and got a point game, you're right there. Come on, let's go back and basically an even game at halftime. And, typically we're a pretty good fourth quarter team and all that, but if you just sit around on your heels and wait for it to happen, you're going to run out of time. And that's really, I thought we really seemed to have a sense of urgency when there's about 40 seconds left to go, and that's not a real good thing to do.
Any word on Donatello? Do you have any indication there, Jim?
It looks like he's got a knee injury, and they're going to do a MRI or whatever later today. But we really won't know all of it until we look at it better.
And I noticed Hunter got into the rotation with Keys there. Would Virgil be the next guy? He was dressed, wasn't he?
Got a shot. Yeah, we've been dressing him, and we'll have to look at it. I thought Hunter did some good things, this afternoon. I thought he stepped in, and of course Kivas had the interception, and I think he probably did some good things. One of the things that you brought up, Mike, is we had so many snaps defensively in the first half. I was just waiting for them to wilt, and they never did. They just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and I'm really proud of the defense now. I think, can we play better? I think we can. Could we gotten off the field a few more times on third down? We probably could have, all those kind of things. But overall, I thought defensively we played pretty good. I don't have a real feel for the kicking game, although I thought, we did some pretty good things there. So we'll take a look. But we just got to find a way to gain a sense of urgency. And that's not pointing at any one kid. That's not pointing at any one coach or other than me. But, we've got to get a spark. Somewhere we got to get a spark. We got to get something going, and we'll start on that Monday morning.
How impactful was the roughing kicker penalty that gave them the first down?
Well, in hindsight, it looks pretty big, looking back. But, I don't know. The problem is you've got kids that are trying to make plays, and we really just had a base defense. We really weren't even rushing the punter. We weren't trying to get to him. Yeah, but we've had, in my career, we've had a couple of blocks off safe, where we just called safe and they don't block you. They think you're playing safe, and, Justin came free, and, I wish he hadn't bumped the kicker. It was 5-yard running into, but gives him the first down and keeps the drive going. So it's, on one hand, you think, well, that, we got to be more heads up, but on the other hand, you like for kids to try to make plays, so, we'll learn from that.
When you go 97 on the last drive, 2 minutes, maybe the best player doesn't make it a play that maybe he could. I mean, how do you pick yourself up from that?
Well, that still doesn't get the job done, Dan. We got overtime. If we make the catch, that's not like that one's going to win it. We're going to have to play great in overtime. And, of course, you always, as a coach, feel like you will. But there's so many plays in the game. Just play after play after play that were critical in the game. And so you can't boil it down to one play, and I don't know how catchable it was. I don't know. So far away from me to where I'm standing, I just, but if you got to throw it to a guy, that's the right guy to try to get it to,
Coach, I got a 2-part question.
Okay,
I'll try to
Scott.
get into it quickly. You've got 3 top 15 teams coming up. You've got 5 road games and the meat of your league schedule. And my 2 questions are, was this a must-win, and how big of a blow was it to your season?
Well, if you check with me after the season, I'll let you know if this was a must-win. That's at this time. I think this was a game that I think last week at Boston College, this week, next week at Army. There's just not one that's not a must-win, and you just don't know how the season's going to go. The teams that look really strong right now may not be quite as strong later in the year, and the teams that don't look real strong might be pretty good by the end of the year. So, our hope is that we'll continue to find ways to improve, and we're not a very good football team right now. I think we potentially can be really good defensively. I think, our kicking game can be good, and we can improve on offense. This is not a problem that can't be fixed, but as I said before, I really think when you start boiling it down, we got to get away from the X's and O's and say, how are we what kind of level of intensity are we playing with out here? Are we playing at a BCS level of intensity? And my feeling is, I'm not in a very good mood right now, but my feeling is no. And how do we get that going? And I'm going to make an effort.
And I don't mean to pick at a scab, but how would you describe the hole you guys are in?
Just football. Got another new week next week up at West Point. It just, in this deal, if you've been coaching for a while, you don't worry about the end of the season, you worry about the next one, and that's kind of a cliche, but that's just the way it is. I don't really, my concerns as we sit here right now are how can we keep the defense at a high level and ask them to play better? How can we improve our kicking game? And how can we light a fire under an offensive football team that doesn't seem to have a sense of urgency? And I may be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but somebody's got to decide what's wrong. So that's my decision right now.
Could that possibly be? And I'm just throwing something out there. You're not excited about what they're running. You talk about lack of intensity.
Well, I think. If you want to throw excuses out, you can do that. I don't know. Our throw game's exactly the same as it's been throughout our career yet. We're throwing all the same things we called with Skinner. All the same things we did with Riley we're doing right now. We've maybe added a wrinkle or two, but all the things, our kids are hearing the same calls they've been hearing for 4 years. So now the problem is some of them are freshmen and redshirt freshmen that are hearing those calls. They haven't been hearing them for 4 years, But that's what we tried to do today. We kind of say, okay, look, or we might be asking you to do too many things in the run game, so let's throw the football. And we just weren't very effective doing it at times. We did some good things. We just nice. We hit Orville, and that was cool, and almost got him again. And there's a guy for all intents and purposes that's been a receiver for the spring and the summer and a few games. So I think. You can start throwing stuff on the wall to see if it sticks, but I will tell you one thing, we will play with more intensity.
Coach.
Thanks.